Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I am Hirwa Innocent on Hirwa SMTS. Today we are going to talk about the history of Christmas, how Christmas was originated and how it is today. So we are going to see everything on Christmas. Every year after Thanksgiving, most people's thoughts turn to Christmas. It is the time when professing Christians are supposed to focus on Jesus Christ. After all, it is the Christmas season. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, holy wreaths, decorated trees, mistletoe, season's greeting, seasonal music, chestnuts roasting on open fire, and Santa Claus are all associated with these days. These all bring warm feelings to those who celebrate it. I grew up in a family that kept Christmas, and it was a very big event in our household every year. We left none of usual trimmings of this occasion. On the December 24th, every year, excitement grew with every passing minute. My parents even brewed black coffee for Santa just before sending us off to bed. I always wondered how they knew Santa like his coffee black, just like my parents liked theirs. After going to bed on Christmas Eve, I could never sleep nor wait to get up in the morning to see all that Santa has brought me. So we are going to see about the Christmas. My name is Hirwa Innocent. This story is from the one writer or author who is called David C. Park in his book called The True Origin of Christmas. Welcome. We are going to continue and see everything. So Christmas is thought by the most to be a wonderful time focusing the participants on giving, family togetherness, beautiful music, and collaborations, feasting on special foods and singing Christmas carols throughout the neighborhood as my family did every year. All of this is supposedly centered around the worship of Christ. Surely the Bible instructs us to do all of this, right? The answers will shock you. Why do people think that Christmas is wonderful? It certainly felt wonderful to me. I trusted what my parents told me. I had no reason to doubt them. They were merely teaching me what is the parents had taught me. I never questioned to who the true origin of Christmas or what God says about it. Most never reflects on why they believe that what they believe or what they do. We live in a world filled with customs, but few ever seek to understand their origin. We generally accept them without question. Most people basically do what everyone else does, following the crowds because it is easy. Let us carefully examine the roots of Christmas. Let us look at why people the follow customs associated with it, why it is kept on December 25th every year. Did the New Testament Church keep it? This booklet is filled with the facts from history and scripture that, when placed together, paint complete picture. Let us avoid all assumptions and only accept what can be proven. Let us see on the first argument, pagan origin. In 1990, the Solon, Ohio School Board banned all nativity and other Christmas scenes on any school property because they felt it is violated the separation of church and state. They were challenged in court when autogerated parents opposed them, feeling that Christmas was being stolen from their children and the community. The board lost the case. The citizenry had contended that Christmas was a worldwide tradition that was not part of and transited the religion. It was deemed to be secure, a part of virtually all cultures worldwide. The court decision affirmed that Christmas has no Christian roots. However, the court's opinion also noted that Bible reading and prayer obviously are associated with Christianity. Remarkable admission. The court concluded that Christmas keeping and the manager sense could remain because they are not really a part of either Christianity or religion, but prayer and the Bible reading, which must be excluded from schools. Nearly all aspects of Christmas observance has their roots in Roman custom and religion. Consider the fleeing admission from large American news like the Buffalo News on November 22nd, 1994. Also, Catholic Encyclopedia in a 1911 edition, Christmas was not among the earliest festivals of the Church. The first evidence of the feast is from Egypt, and the more reading Encyclopedia America, Day of Many Trains, Rites of Birth and Sun, and the Cross of Saturnia. Many readings. It was 300 years after Christ before the Roman Church kept Christmas, and not until the 5th century, and it was mandated to be kept throughout the empire as an official festival honoring Christ. Can Christ be honored by Christmas? The most common justification that one will hear regarding Christmas is that people have replaced old pagan customs and intents by asserting that they are now focusing on Christ. I have heard many say that they are honoring Christ in their Christmas keeping. The problem is that God doesn't say this is acceptable to him. Actually, he plainly commands against it. Keeping Christmas dishonors Christ. He considers everything about it only to be abomination. We will soon see why. Christ says, but in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. In Matthew chapter 15 verse 9, Christmas is not command of God, it is the additional of men. Christ continues. In Mark chapter 7 verse 9, he said, for when you reject the commandment of God that you may keep your own tradition, we will see that God plainly commands. Was Christ born on December 27th? Good question. Christ was born in the fall of the year. Many have mistakenly believed that Jesus was born around the beginning of winter, around 25th December. They are wrong. Notice that the Adam Clarke commentary in his book, volume 5, page 370, New York edition, it was custom among Jews to send out their sheep to the deserts at the Passover or early spring and bring them home at the commencement of the first rain. The first rains began in early to mid-fall, continuing with this same cult. During the time when they were out, the shepherds watched them night and day as first rain began in early month of March Esvan, which answers to the part of our October and November, begin sometimes in October. We find that the sheep were kept out in open country during the warm summer and as the shepherds had not yet brought home their flocks, it is presumptive argument that October had not yet commenced and that consequently our Lord has not born on 25th of December when no flocks were out in the field, nor could he have been born later than September, as the flocks were still in the fields by the night. On this, every ground nativity in December should be given up. The feeding of the flocks by night in the fields is chronological fact. See the quotation from Talmudists in Right Foot. Then another question is, who was the Saturn? Obviously, let us carefully study just exactly who Saturn was. Consider the following quote from other large American newspaper like the Democratic and Chronicle, Rochester, New York, December 1984. The Roman Festival of Saturnalia, December 17 up to 24, moved citizens to decorate their homes with crimson lights and give gifts to the children and the poor. The December 25 festival of Natalis Solis Invicti, the birth of an unconquered son, was declared by the Emperor Aurelian in August this year 274 as a winter solstice celebration, and sometimes or later was Christianized as a date to celebrate the birth of Son of Light. Dr. William G., chairman of American Museum of Natural Christmas, with his quote on December 18 in Westchester, New York newspaper, The Reporter, he said the early Romans were not celebrating Christmas but rather a pagan feast called Saturnalia. It is occurred each year around the beginning of winter or winter solstice. This was the time when the sun had taken its slowest path across the sky and the days were beginning to lengthen, thus assuring another season of growth. If many of trappings of the Saturnalia, however, seem too parallel, what so may of us today we can see were borrowed our holiday traditions, and indeed it was being suggested that while Christ was most likely not born in late December, the early Christians, then still in outward sect, moved Christmas to the time of Saturnalia to draw as a little attention as possible to themselves while they celebrated their own holiday. The Saturnalia, of course, celebrated the Saturn, the fire god. Saturday derived from the nature of this god, as do all the other days of the week from pagan gods. Sunday's god, Moon's Day, Twist Day, Wooden Day, Toss Day, Frigga Day, and Saturn's Day. But who was Saturn? He was the god of sowing or planting, because heat from the sun was required for planting and growth of crops. He was also worshipped in the of winter festival. Let us see on Nimrod. Who was Nimrod in the history of Christmas? Because in talking about the history of Christmas, we cannot leave this topic without considering about the name Nimrod. We must now look more closely at who is the biblical figure Nimrod was. We have already seen him as one of history's original false gods, but what else can be learned? In Genesis chapter 10 verse 9 says of Nimrod, he was a mighty hunter before, in place of the rod, he actually tried to replace the god. The famous Jewish historian Josephus records in Jewish antiquities important evidence of Nimrod's role in the post-flood world. In Thais, he also gradually changed the government into tyranny. He, or the Nimrod, also said he would be revenged on God if he should have a mind to drown the world again. For that, he would build a tower too high for the waiters to be able to reach. Now the multitude were very ready to follow the determination of Nimrod and to steal a piece of cowardice to submit to God. Under my name's mankind's arrest and perhaps the greatest rebel has been worshipped towards the false religion. So my friends, there is many things that we can talk about the history of Christmas. So on the other day I will come on this topic about the origin of Christmas, the tree, those tree which we used to see in the days of or in the period of Christmas. So while those tree, why worship of true God mixed with false practice is bad activities, we will see on ancient Israel's pagan practice in canons. So stay tuned on this channel. I am called Hirwa Innocent as usual on Hirwa SMTS, and guys, go and look for the other videos either in